Greetings, my friends, and welcome to setting rhinestones in polymer clay and resin. I've been working with this for a few weeks, and I'm really getting interested in all the things that you can do with rhinestones and polymer clay. Resin holds them in really well, and I'm really experimenting with that a lot. I made these little templates for this mold with liquid clay, and you might want to do that too. I tried different methods, and that was the easiest way, because that gives you something to cut around. It makes it easier to get the clay into the mold. This is a number 1 setting doubled up. That's my thickest setting doubled up. I want a nice base for this, and I want to put a texture on it. And that texture will go on the back of the pendant. It saves you a lot of work later to already have that texture there like that. So I've got the sheet on top of the clay rather than the other way around. I'm making a good impression in there with the heat of my hands, and then I settle it down and make sure it's even by putting my swirls and snakes tool, a little piece of lucite, on top to make it nice and even. And once that's done, I can cut it out and get ready to put it in the mold. So I'll lay out my little pattern that I made and just cut around it with a craft knife. Once you have that cut out the way you want it, you can smooth it out a little bit on the edges before you put it in the mold. And it's kind of a good idea to do that. So now we can put it in there. This little windows mold is the best mold I've ever had. I thought I'd tell you that. I'm going to put a link down there. I've got these inexpensive molds and I use them, and you'll see some stuff with them later. They're okay, but they only last a little while, and I've had this one for 8 years. So little windows, I've got to say, the quality, $15 for that long. Okay, so I'm just popping that in, and I've got the textured side down, so it'll be the back of the focal. And this is kind of an important step. You want to take your big ball stylus. I don't know what other tool would do that, but you might have one that will. I use this because I'm trying to push it nice and evenly up the sides a little bit. So I'm making a cupped shape, and I want those sides to look pretty even and to kind of look higher on the edges. And that's because they're going to create the edges of this. I didn't add any trim at all. Black you see there is just the black clay that went up the sides, so it's kind of a good idea to do that. It gives you a head start on finishing it, makes it easier. And take your little silicone tool, just make sure it looks pretty good, because you don't want to have to file on that and stuff afterwards. It's much easier to just work in the mold when it comes to this stuff than to have to take it out and put it back in. So I've got this little ball of black. I'm going to make a little pad for my stone. Just a little piece, you see the size, and that doesn't have to be real exact. What it has to do is just raise that stone up off the base without me having to press through and accidentally go back, through the back. And I'm really making sure that it's level right now. You can leave it up as high as you want to. It just depends on how much resin you want to put in and where you want it to sit. There's a lot of latitude on that. You're going to know what you want to do. So once it's settled down in there, let's put in our glitter. This is some big glitter I got. It's so pretty. It was from Hobby Lobby, I believe. And you get a lot in a container, get a lot of different colors. And in that other pendant, you'll see that I mixed some colors to make it look like that chameleon. You want to bake that up for about half an hour, 45 minutes, I'd say 45 minutes. And it looks really good. I knocked off the excess glitter, and I glued that stone back in. You just pop it out and pop it back in with super glue, because now I can move it around the way I need to without it falling out. The resin is going to hold it in, and that's a really cool thing to utilize to hold in your stones. But while I'm working with it, I don't want it shifting around. Anyway, a little super glue will do that job. I use a toothpick when I decant my resin. I take off the pour spout because it can be bubbly inside there, and The spouts can even pop off if you put a lot of pressure on the bottle. So I just control it with my toothpick and start to pour it in there until it's about the level I want. And don't forget, you could do 2 layers. You have a lot of control over how your pendant ends up, whether it's concave or flat or convex. Just make sure it's as even as you can make it. And take out your bubbles with a little lighter. I just noticed you can't see that flame, but it was there. Now you just want to get that cured up. And I give it enough time. I don't like to hurry this too much, because when you handle a piece that's resin and it's not cured all the way underneath, it can get dull. There it is, finished. You see, I accepted it being sort of concave. This one isn't. This is a flat one I made with that other mold. And on this one it had a chameleon stone which changes colors, so I put different colors of glitter behind it to kind of show that off. And this mold does have the advantage of having you know, a hole in it already, so you don't have to drill it. And that turned out like that. I think they're both really pretty and different. I've got a lot more colors of stones in the store for you, just about any color you'd want. So you can design yours just the way you want it and make a beautiful gift for someone, I think.